going on, America? You with the messenger of Third Eye Knowledge. I wanted to make a video for my YouTube internet people. Okay. Yes, I'm quoting Bo of the Fifth. Today's information is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Okay. Not only did Trump flip out on Goodell for the kneeling during the national anthem, we have a congressman named Elliot Engel in New York who's calling AOC a dictator because she's, instead of endorsing Elliot Eagle for another couple terms, she's endorsing Jamal Bowman, a very positive and progressive progressive. And none of it makes sense because she's not a dictator. She's a senator. Kamala Harris shut down Meghan McCain because Meghan McCain is a complete and total douchebag and a retard. Next, I have information here for the American people on more information on George Floyd. And George Floyd's lawyer decided he was going to go public on a news station, NBC, another platform in the power structure of the conservative right-wing media, and decided to say that maybe George Floyd's murder wasn't so bad. No, I almost dropped my phone when I heard that. All because of our leadership. How can you blame President Trump? He's Derek Chauvin's lawyer. Well, Derek Chauvin's lawyer is a callous cocksucker because you're seeing a lot of callous cocksuckers because Trump is setting the example, and these people think it's okay to follow in the steps of a bad person. This lawyer for Derek Chauvin is a bad person. Now, let's bring us to Thomas Lane, a deputy in training under Derek Chauvin. Thomas Lane was a deputy under Derek Chauvin and reported to his lawyer that he was told Derek Chauvin twice to lay him on his side because he's dying. And Derek Chauvin decided to tell him to go suck a dick. And I also still to this day don't understand why nobody who was filming him on their precious fucking shitbag devices decided not to be a shitbag and maybe take a taser for another person's life, because that's too much in this country. That's too much in this time and age we're living in to maybe sacrifice your physical okay and take a little pain to save another man's life. In the shelter we learn that. We learn to, okay, here's an innocent person and they're being abused or beaten or brutalized by the police. What do? We get 45 of us and jump on that cop. Because your job is to protect and serve, not patronize and brutalize. That's why. So let's bring us to Thomas Lane's criminal history. Court records of Thomas Lane's criminal history show that from 2001 to 2018, he's racked up more than 12 criminal charges in traffic citations, and not only traffic citations, it gets even better. Was charged with 2 counts of obstructing legal processes and legal obstruction, damaging property, unlawful assembly, and disorderly conduct. Now, I wanted to let my YouTube viewers and everyone on this fucking planet know that every single form of local, state, and federal leadership have access to every single police officer's record in the country. Why is he on the force? Oh, I know, because the police unions in this country are run by shitbags and endorsed by shitbag senators, governors, and mayors. That's why you can't get these bastards out right away or at all, because the police unions are mobbed up. They are mobbed up and they're locked down like fucking drums because they don't give a shit about black individuals, African Americans. I don't like using the colonizers' language again. Just diverse ethnic groups and poor white folk. That's why. And you are nothing but a peasant and a number. And you will be beaten because they think that it's okay to beat you. That's why. Let's bring it to this. He was convicted on 2 of these counts, by the way, of obstructing legal processes. You can go Google it for what legal processes is. It's a lot of information. Now let's bring us to the Ring of Fire, because I think that this is also a major piece of information. Let's talk about Martin Gugino for a minute in America. Martin Gugino is not an antagonist. I'm sure you saw Trump's tweet today. He's a member of Antifa, and he was trying to conspire to black out police technology. Number one, police technology is usually on a different wavelength of live stream wireless media when you have the dashboard and the body cams are on a different channel, and on the secure and enclosed channel, federal security software. And number two, their walkie-talkies and all their other weapons. The walkie-talkies are on a certain channel that you can't access on a regular UHF or VHF connection to try to cancel out their walkie-talkies. You have to have a certain CB handle for that. Number three, he's a 75-year-old man who feels very strongly for the systemic failure of the American Constitution and way the legislation and the laws in this country are. And he marched with them, and he was handing them a helmet that one of them left on the ground. And the Buffalo governor and one of the mayors as well, decides to say that he was an antagonist. America, it is not okay to brutalize elderly people. It is not okay to push a 75-year-old man down, crack his skull, watch him die. That's wrong. And this is where the consciousness comes in. We need to do something. The American people. We need to evolve. And I understand from, researching my information. I do 8 hours of information analytics a day. Stop. I want to say to the American people, stop talking yourselves down. We're living in 2020. We should be at a point where no matter what circumstance, if our conscious eyes, each and every one of our conscious eye level of awareness, could evolve equally, we can actually live in that perfect world in peace and prosperity. What you have right now for a country is no different than Saudi Arabia, no different than North Korea, and no different than Russia. It's the people in the communities that are holding on to some kind of sanity and respect for one another, and we need to give ourselves credit. Oh, we'll never get a progressive in because... No, you'll never get a progressive in is because you don't think you can get one in. And I'm talking to not only a progressive governor, senator, mayor, I'm talking about a progressive president. Any of you that know somebody in a higher level and know that this person is thinking about running for public office, inspire them and encourage them to run for public office. America, you don't have a leader. You have an overgrown child who probably walks around the fucking White House shitting himself in fear in a fucking bunker because that's what he is. He's a fucking pussy and a coward, shitbag, and rat bastard. There is nothing okay about that tweet, and that should have waked up the rest of this country. Time to take it back. How do you take it back? By going in another direction. Oh, we're just going to put Biden in. Why? 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 To give tax breaks to the rich and healthcare? Unlimited healthcare to the rich? Tax breaks to the rich? Because that's what Biden's going to do, because Biden's a liar. Biden's a fucking shitbag liar. I don't give a shit if he smiles at the black community. He's smiling at the black community and probably fantasizing about lynching the black community because for some anonymous goddamn reason, every time we have a right wing or some kind of Republican leadership, they're racist. Because they come from racist backgrounds. It is a taught. It's taught. Racism, you're not born racist, and you are not. You don't decide to be racist. You're taught to be racist. And these people go hundreds of years back in the family trait and bloodline to racist ancestors and racist forefathers. Biden's racist like all the others. All the others. Maybe we should have a black female for president. Oh, why not? Because you don't believe that there can be a black woman for president. Because that's what they taught you. Prove me wrong, America. Vote progressive, or push to have a progressive, inspire a progressive, and encourage a progressive to run for president, and prove my ass wrong. Shut me up. I have a lot of right-wingers that hate me, and that's fine. You can hate me all you want, but I woke your ass up. Hate me all you want, I woke your ass up. That's all I have to say to my, trolls and people that hate on my shit. Hate on my shit, but it's real. Because America, if you think that, well, take your job for example, or take a career for an example. This is a worn out and played out example, but you're only as successful and you're only as happy and only as content and peaceful as you allow yourself to be. And if you are not content with this leadership, then let your vote say something. But what if our state and local leaders want to fudge our votes? Then protest, 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 and protest. Spread that propaganda like they've spread the propaganda on Fox and every other media in the power structure that, oh, Black Lives Matter is defunding the police, they want to abolish the police. No, I wanted to speak further on the police unions. The police unions are locked down like drums. The police unions are run like the mob, and they're locked down. And just like a lot of what you're seeing, that's the mission. And some of us within the progressive and the very aware and conscious community know that you are being brainwashed, and your family members and friends that are above the age of 45 and up are being brainwashed as well, because they don't have any other access to a progressive and or independent free media, in which goes out, has their own fact checkers, has their own journalists and people who write op-eds, and they get the information themselves. Not make up information and hearsay, people calling in, or the FCC telling them what to make up. Martin Gugino was a very important person because he had a progressive attitude. Again, I will say it, Martin Gugino was a very important person within those protests because he had a progressive's attitude. And the attitude is, we need to fight, and we need to hold true to our core principles and morals, like our legislation and our Constitution is supposed to be upheld. Or we might as well hand this country over to the North Koreans, the Russians, and the Trump family. Because that's where we're going. So I ask the American people to ask yourselves a simple question. I'll give my viewers homework like always. If you really don't want Trump or anyone else like him in any other level of state, local, and federal leadership, as well as executive, prove me wrong. Because your vote and your attitudes and what we're seeing on social media says it all. You guys are brainwashed, a lot of you. And I'm not saying it to be a dickhead or a shitbag. You're brainwashed, man. I tell everyone all the time as well. Oh, must be speaking to the sheep again. I'm sorry, folks. I'm looking at my time because I don't want to take up too much time of the American people because it's precious as of right now. We're in the middle of history. But I don't force this on anybody. As well as other progressive platforms. They don't force it. I saw the comment yesterday, TYT stay asking for money. They're not asking for money. They're just asking for support. There's asking for money and asking for support. These people bring you. After my fact checking when I first got into progressive media, they're really telling you the truth. They are. And I'm proud to speak for TYT and TDR, the Damage Report with John Iadarola. I always say his name wrong. But follow that and you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't follow anybody in America. I'm the last person to follow media or anything that has to do with networking because I grew up a certain way and I've lived a certain way of life and I've seen a lot of the inside. These people are trying to tell you, take your country back. We have lost our democracy and we're going to be handed over to either the North Koreans or the Russians. So America, as I always close out the video, peace, love, and conscious awareness. Go to get your information. Okay, I'll give it to you like I always do to answer my last comment. Where can I get this amazing information? TYT, post game and the conversation, the Damage Report with John Iadarola. Love Garbage Person of the Week, by the way. This week was great. And Ring of Fire. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Stay aware, stay conscious, and change the way you think, and you will change your personal, professional, and you will assist in changing our lives. Peace and love.